They actually had a big event at the White House where President Biden came out, flanked by Senators Sinema and Cassidy and Manchin and several others, to announce, we've got the outlines of a deal.
Within 2 hours, the president walked back his comments and said there's no way he would be signing this bill unless it was accompanied by a larger sort of social infrastructure framework.
And that was where Build Back Better all of a sudden became attached to the infrastructure bill.
The progressive folks on the Democratic side, they wanted it all. They wanted the entitlement changes. They wanted a whole number of things unrelated to infrastructure. It was way too big, and we knew it wouldn't get 51 votes in the Senate. The infrastructure bill would die, as well as this other well-intentioned social program.
There was a lot of drama in between getting that package agreed upon and then getting it across the finish line.
The infrastructure bill had passed the Senate. It was something that my constituents and many people across the country were very excited about.
It was awesome. I thought, hallelujah, we're going to bring America together, a lot of jobs for labor, good for business. And the Senate sends it over in the spring, and Pelosi says we're not going to hear it.
Pelosi wanted to link Build Back Better to the infrastructure bill.
It stalled for weeks. It was like Lucy in the football.
And the first big clash came when 9 of us signed onto a letter and said, no, we don't want these things linked.
Speaker Pelosi would say, okay, we're bringing it up now, thinking that she had the votes, and then they didn't have them.
By the end, a lot of the frontliners were just begging the leadership and begging the Progressive Caucus to let the bill go through.
I finally stood up and said, well, we're not getting anywhere. I was informed, well, the bill's probably dead then. I said, okay, if that's what you want to do, Madam Speaker.
There's lots of moments where I thought, forget it. This is not going to happen, or leadership's going to kill it, or the Republicans are going to walk away.
There was enormous pressure brought to bear on people like myself or the other 9 members who signed on to that letter.
There was a lot of pressure on both sides, frankly.
The head of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee called and threatened to pull my funding.
Once you succumb to pressure like that, then they got you. Just give me your voting card, because it's not yours or your district's anymore. There were 9 problem solvers, 9 Democrat problem solvers that said, no, Madam Speaker, we're not going to have any vote on anything else unless the infrastructure bill goes first.
We had to get on the phone and say to the Republicans, we need you to stick with this. Don't worry what you're reading. That's not true. Right, stick with us. We need you here to the end.
On the Republican side, the 13 Republicans that stood in there. A couple of the progressives said, no, we want it all, and so they were a no vote. So we had to counter that. That was a wonderful thing. That doesn't happen all the time in United States Congress. The thing wasn't about politics, wasn't about the president. It was about doing the right thing for the country.
You just got to keep going and keep moving it forward until you get it across the finish line.
That was our mantra going forward. And the Speaker didn't agree with us.
And this was the moment where I thought, she can't get this done. She's not going to be able to pull this off.
I spoke to our leadership, to Speaker Pelosi, and I said, we can fill this gap. And she said, they're never going to vote for this thing. They're going to pull the rug out of you at the last minute. I said, they're not, because we work together all the time. And they gave me their word. So we got everyone at the office and she said, okay, it's game day. We're going to do this. If you can do A, B, and C, we'll bring this to the floor. And so we all negotiated all day long. We finally went to the floor late at night.
When the vote started, we walked over and cast our vote.
I had my list, and I was walking over to the Republicans and saying, come on, you said yes.
And it won by, a handful of votes. There were 13 of us, 13 Republicans that voted yes.
And the bill passed, and it was a big moment to show that we can govern in this country.
Years later, as we talk, it's great to see these projects that are done, that are funded because of a bipartisan effort. For the first time in my tenure in Congress, the members of Congress decided the legislation. It wasn't just the Speaker of the House or the minority leader. It wasn't just the president. It was members that decided what was best for their district.
It was about keeping my promises to the people who elected me.
It would not have happened had it not been for No Labels and the Problem Solvers Caucus.
It's hugely important for the country and we needed it. It can be rough getting there, but when you get there, people are very happy to celebrate and everyone wants to be part of the win.